Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Commissioners, Chair Anderson will not be here today. He's attending a wedding in California, and so you're stuck with me as your chair today. Commissioner Pennell is ill today, and we're looking for Commissioner Williams. And if he comes in, we'll recognize him then. As Bruce indicated last month, we're going to have participants from the Leadership Development Group in attendance with us over the next year to observe the board meeting process. I want to welcome you all to our meeting today. Would like to recognize this group and for you all to stand up, introduce us, tell us where you work, and tell us a little bit about maybe a little bit about your program that you're involved in.
My name is Carrie Brill. I've been at KUB for a little over 10 years. I started in the Technical Services Department doing environmental compliance work, and then worked on our Environmental Stewardship Initiative for a few years after that. And I'm now in the Engineering Department working on our asset management programs, and I coordinate the Century 2 programs for natural gas, a lot of the maintenance activities with that.
I'm Amy Farmer. I've been with KUB right at 15 years. I started out in customer service for 9 of those years, and now I'm overseeing the meters department revenue section, and I actually oversee the meter reader contractor.
I'm Terry Martin. I'm with Underground Water, and I've been here, I don't know, about 20 something. And they all been in Underground. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Hi, my name is Doug Miller. I'm a supervisor in overhead construction. Been at KUB about 25 years, and my career prior to moving to overhead was system operations. So I was there about 15 years. And from the leadership pilot, I'm partnering with another member of the group to assess and evaluate the skills that we learn, return on investment, things like that for future classes for KUB, for the leadership development.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Thomas. I'm the supervisor of operations at KUB's drinking water treatment plant. I've been here about 10 years, 1 year over at the drinking water plant. Today's drinks are provided by us.
Well, I want to thank you all for your service and your participation in this program. It's always good to see folks, and we welcome you to our meeting today. I guess we'll call our meeting to order. Mr. Coley, you want to call the roll?
Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Pennell are absent. Everybody else is present, with Commissioner Williams having not answered his cell phone got voicemail, so we'll continue to know that.
All right.
But you do have a forum for business.
Commissioners, you received your minutes in your packet. I think we need to have those February 20 minutes approved. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next item we have on our agenda is Resolution 1305, authorizing the transfer of property of the electric division located at 113 Wrinkle Avenue, a place I never want to reside, to the city of Knoxville.
Okie dokie.
Okay, I'm a little late on that.
Commissioners, we're pleased to be supportive of an initiative that the city of Knoxville has taken to realign the entrance to Fort Dickerson Park with the traffic signal and other roadage in that area. It is just south of the Arby's on Chapman Highway, and we have a substation there, and I'll recognize Gabe Bolus who will tell you about the property transfer.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Yeah, I agree with the statement about the Winkle Road there. As Ms. Roach described, the property located is our South Knoxville substation. Here's Woodlawn Pike, Maryville Pike, Martin Mill Pike, just north of here is the River and Henley Street Bridge, so just in South Knoxville. We do have a substation there known as South Knoxville. It was built there in 1950, so it's been in operation almost 65 years. We've had it and operating and replaced it many times. The city approached us about 2 years ago asking for a small portion of that property to work with their Fort Dickerson alignment. The property we have today is 4.4 acres. What they're asking for is a strip of land that measures about 0.7 acres. This particular property had always been deeded as a right-of-way that was never developed into anything. It was just an empty strip of land. We have no facilities there, none of our substations there. Our actual substation sits right here in the green, the actual physical substation. The rest of this property is lines that come in and out of there, power lines in and out of the substation, but there is absolutely nothing in this orange strip that we own today. Here's a picture of what their city's planning on doing. They are looking to realign the project. Actually, let me show you right here. I drew in here real quickly the proposed new road. The existing road goes from here to here, and that will be closed and condemned once the new road is installed. So what they've done is made a new entrance to the park and then aligned it with Woodlawn Pike, and ultimately be a lighted intersection, much easier to get in and out of there, and much more safe for the traffic of Knoxville. So this picture is actually a rendering. Behind me is Chapman Highway. I'm looking into that curve. And of course there's a retaining wall there in the build because of the slope. If you've been down there, that's kind of the peak of the hill and it comes down on Chapman Highway. This is to be the quote new entrance to the park, a new wall we built and a pretty sign, the entrance there. And so this project helps facilitate that. So as part of 1305, Resolution 1305, we asked for the board to allow us to declare this land as surplus and then transfer the property as a quick claim deed to the city of Knoxville. Any questions?
I move approval of resolution 1305.
Second. Mr. Cully, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Cannell. Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Herbert.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Those commissioners that are present all voted in favor of the resolution today.
The next resolution we have is Resolution 1306, which would authorize the transfer of another piece of surplus real estate of the gas division located at 514 Bernard Avenue.
You don't want to live there either. So. This is a piece of property that we no longer have a need for, and we're asking your authorization to declare it surplus. And I'll recognize Mark Walker to describe the project.
Commissioners, KUB's gas division does own certain real property on Bernard Avenue, which is no longer needed for the operation of the gas system or for any other utility system. In fact, the President and CEO has declared the property as surplus. KUB's gas bond resolutions and our procurement procedures provide for the disposition of the property upon adoption of a resolution by the board that does two things. One, declares the property to be surplus as well, and two, authorizes the disposition of the property. So I wanted to take just a minute and go over with you the particulars of the property. And to start out with, the property in question, the subject property is 514 Bernard Avenue. That is a 3.7 acre parcel of land south of Bernard. It also includes a vacant warehouse / office structure that used to house the gas meter shop several years ago. And in fact, when I first hired on at KUB back in 1993, I worked in the back office in that building along with Mike Boland and several other people. So just to further acclimate you to where it is, this is actually not far from where we are today. It's just north of downtown Knoxville. Bernard Avenue, if you continued eastward on Bernard, shortly up the road you would intersect North Central Avenue. You find the U.S. National Cemetery, the Old Gray Cemetery. If you went in this direction, you're going to run into Broadway in short order. And then also, as the crow flies, if you went due north, the road that parallels Bernard Avenue is Baxter. And if you're familiar with the new location of Holston Gas's headquarters, that's where that is. So hopefully that helps acclimate you to the location. I mentioned that this was owned by the gas system. And actually, if you go back in time, several of these parcels of property and their associated structures belonged to the gas system. It actually housed gas system operations up until the late 1990s, when all underground utility operations were consolidated and moved to Jackson Avenue, and they're now in the Fleming Operations Center. But for example, this parcel of land and the structure, that used to be the old gas engineering building and gas administration building back in the day. It was declared surplus by the board and sold to Knox County Emergency Communications in 2000. So you can see that's where the 911 call center is today. This parcel of property and this structure, that used to be the old gas storeroom where we kept all our materials for the gas system. It was declared surplus by the board and sold to Broadway Electric in 2005. And then there was this parcel of property, that used to be where the old gas control center was. In 2008, the gas division transferred that property to wastewater, and we constructed a new wastewater storage tank around 2009, 2010. So again, the remaining property of the gas system is 514, this 3.7 acre parcel of land and the associated structure, which is about 7,400 square feet, that building. We have no need for it for the gas system. We have no need for it for any of the systems. So we would like for the board to declare it surplus so we could move to sell the property. Now I do want to point out one thing. We may have discussed this in the past, but this site used to be the site of a manufactured gas plant. Back before transmission lines were built and pipelines brought natural gas into Knoxville, there was manufactured coal gas, which was transported through the distribution system. As a result of that, there was some residue from coal tar and ash that was found on the site. When we actually built the tank back in 2009, 2010, there was an excavation, and all the impacted soil was remediated and removed, except for that located underneath this structure and some located alongside Bernard Avenue. And that whole project was done under the supervision and approval of the Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation, TDEC. But because removing soil from underneath the structure and alongside Bernard Avenue would have jeopardized the integrity of those structures and the road could have collapsed, that remained and is contained within the soil. And we do test that from time to time as required. But there are land use restrictions associated with this parcel of property, which basically state that you can't do any excavation on it without the approval and supervision of TDEC. And also, when we do sell the property, those land use restrictions will pass with the title. So whoever buys the property will now have those land use restrictions they have to abide by. So in summary, we've already covered really all of this. It's 3.7 acres located at Bernard Avenue. It does include that 7,400 square foot vacant structure that used to be the warehouse office building for the gas system. We've determined it is not needed by gas or any other utility system. And again, it is subject to certain land use restrictions which would pass with the title. So Resolution 1306 does declare the property as surplus and authorizes the President and CEO to transfer the property. That meets the conditions of our bond resolution and our procurement procedures. And any proceeds we get from the sale or transfer of the property would be placed in the accounts of the gas division. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
When we were thinking about building a storage tank there, did we look at this site and the site across the street?
I'd have to defer to maybe Bill on that.
We looked at both sites, but the site that we ultimately chose was the one that best met our needs and our the location. The site that we're looking at today, the remainder of the site, was remediated as a part of that. It was used as a laydown and storage area for the contractor during the construction, but it was really a lot more site than we needed for the purposes of the tank itself.
Do you know what zone?
I don't know for sure. I believe it's probably industrial.
Yeah. I think it's light industrial / industrial. Any other questions?
The only reservation I have with it, and I have to say, I think, and I'm certainly will support it if that's what we decide to do, but it's going to be hard to replace that if 10 years from now we did build another tank, or just something I'm sure y'all thought through on that.
From the perspective of the collection system and its needs, if we ever have the need for another tank to support our plant storage or the distribution system storage, it would in all likelihood not be located near an existing tank. It would be at a location apart and removed from that point, because whatever storage we would need would be driven by conditions or circumstances impacting a different part of the collection system or at a point in the collection system upstream or downstream from that particular location.
And we have thoroughly reviewed it with respect to the other systems. Would there be any need? And we currently have none.
And I would
don't
tell you,
anticipate having.
as you saw in the earlier slide, we sold parcels along the way and held reservation about whether we wanted to completely dispose of it, but we've held it for 15 years just to see if anything would arise, and we've concluded none of our systems need it, and it's to the benefit of our customers to get the revenue rather than it be sitting there. So we believe we can market this and sell this property, and that money will go to the benefit of the gas systems.
Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 1306?
So moved.
Second.
I did not do this previously on our other resolution. I'm going to be reprimanded for that, but I don't know if we have any visitors that wanted to comment about any of the sales of these properties. No member of the public here to do that. Mr. Coley, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Cannell. Aye. Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Herbert.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Resolution 1306 is passed with unanimous vote of the quorum that's here.
We're now going to have our president's report from them.